Good morning.
Good
Welcome to
morning.
Kerouac's Cruising.
Cara and James here. And today we are going to talk about this gorgeous new spot that we were just introduced to and we're lucky enough to find. We can't find it on any maps, so possibly we are exclusively bringing you this spot. And we're going to talk a little bit about some drama that we teased you about last week.
So we went on an adventure. We're still in Idaho and about 20 minutes outside of Sandpoint, really about 30 minutes from my son's house. You're going to get on State Route 200 heading toward Clark Fork. And it's really on the way to our favorite spot, Lightning Creek. But we found a great spot, and it's a good spot for tubing if you like tubing. We didn't do the tubing part of it because we had the three dogs, but it's a great beach. You can set up a tent and stuff. So you're going to take State Route 200 heading toward Clark Fork, and you're going to get down that road about 5 miles to Colburn Culver Road. You're going to take a left on Colburn Culver Road. You're going to follow that down. You're going to cross the Pack River Bridge, the north side of the bridge. People park there and they put tubes in there and they go down the Pack River on tubes. It's shallow, crystal clear, and all sandy. We did not go there. We continued further down to the road called Gold Creek Road, which is going to be the next right after you go over the bridge. And as soon as you go over that bridge, you're going to see how beautiful the area is and how sandy and crystal clear the water is. So you're going to take Gold Creek Road. You go down Gold Creek Road, really only about a mile, maybe it's a mile and a half on the right-hand side. You're going to see a parking lot. You're going to pull in, and that's going to be this trailhead. We had our three dogs. We had a little wagon. We picked up our stuff in, and we headed off to the trail. My son said it was about a mile. I did track it, and it ended up being 3/4 of a mile.
And this, just to kind of do some clarification, this trailhead, if we remember correctly, was called Gold Creek Trailhead, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're not finding it on all trails on Gaia GPS. It's not showing up on any maps as a trail. So this is one of those you definitely want to make sure you get to our website, kerouacscruising.com, and check out the blog post for this episode, because this is the only way you're going to be able to find this trailhead. Again, we can't find it on any maps, and we learned about it through his son. So he learned about it from people who live here locally. Definitely check out the blog post. We're going to have this pinned on a map for you guys so you can find it.
Real easy.
Mm-hmm.
So we hiked the trail with our wagon and three dogs. We get out there not knowing what really to expect. And the trail ends right on a sandy beach. And the water's
Perfect.
about waist high, cold, but not too cold. I went right in. The dogs went right in. Kara went right in. We set up our screen house and we are ready to enjoy the day. We have lunch.
We got picnic pack. We got some drinks, margaritas.
We got drinks, and we're going to chill out here for the whole day. We are excited. The weather's about 85 degrees. So we get there. First thing happens, some tubers came down, which was cool. We got to talk to them, and they told us about the Pack River store, which Kara will give more details on that. And some people will tube down to the Pack River store and get out there, leave their car there. But you can take the river all the way to Lake Pend Oreille and get out right at the mouth of the river that it flows into Lake Pend Oreille. So there's a parking lot there, and then there's the parking lot at the store. So we didn't do those things. We just went to the beach. And the last episode, if you tuned into the last episode, we kind of talked about we were going to record, we were going to spend the day out here and do all these things. But our day got interrupted. So we held the dogs. People went by on the tube. We let go of the dogs. They're playing. Literally, I just opened a beer. We're just going to sit and relax. Not 5 minutes later, Norman came back with a face full of porcupine quills. So we made him suffer.
Well, we're terrible parents, but
we made him suffer while she didn't even have a beer open. While I finished my beer and she cried, and not knowing what we were going to do, because this is the third episode of Norman and porcupine quills.
In
So
3 years. He's 3 years old and he's gotten a face full of quills 3 times.
and it's an ordeal. You bring them to the vet for it. They got to put them to sleep, pull the quills, whatever. It's an ordeal, and it's not a cheap ordeal. But we were contemplating if we really wanted to go spend $2,000 again on the dog, because that was about the average price the last 2 times, and we really just didn't know what we were going to do. So we sat there for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, deciding why he pouted in the corner, because obviously he was in pain.
And uncomfortable.
So we did decide we weren't going to bring him to the vet, and he was just going to have to get tortured while we pulled him out one by one.
And I know that's so cruel, but he's not learning by doing it the easy way. So hopefully this is going to be a memorable negative experience for him and he'll stop getting the quills. But I think, unfortunately, and that's just as heartbreaking, we're going to have to start reining him in. He just can't have as much freedom as we've been giving him. And he loves running. He loves playing. Seeing him run through the forest, he is just so happy. But I mean, we can't afford these insane vet bills from him just being irrational, frankly. I don't know why he thinks this porcupine's going to be different than the last one, but he keeps doing it.
So we did tranquilize him with triazepam, whatever it is. So we did give him some medication that we had, melatonin, whatever. But I don't think that stuff even affects him.
Dude, he doesn't even.
So pretty much, me and my son physically held him to the ground, head pinned up against the cement floor. And while my son held him and I held his head to the cement floor, I pulled out the quills one at a time. There was, the last few times, there was over 20, 30 quills. This time there was only 12 quills. So it wasn't horrible. We got through it, thought he was fine. And then the next, or later on that night, we noticed there was actually one that was broken off and it only had a small piece. So then the next day, me and Cara had to try to get that one last one out. And that took us over an hour to get that last one out.
He definitely has more stamina than the two of us put together. But he's so funny because he wants it out. He doesn't want to be uncomfortable anymore. He knows it needs to happen, but he doesn't want to let it happen, of course, because I'm sure it's excruciatingly painful. I couldn't even imagine. But it's out, and he's good.
So hopefully we have no more incidents, at least while we're in Idaho. So that was our adventure. It kind of we never recorded. We didn't do anything.
Yeah, we didn't even get to enjoy the spot.
Yeah, we didn't get to enjoy the spot, but it is a fabulous spot. We look forward to going back out there.
Absolutely.
And
even the hike is beautiful through the forest and meadows. It's a little hilly up and down.
I don't do good in the sun, so usually when I go swimming early in the morning before 10, or I wait till after 6 o'clock at night until the UV rays is low because I burn so quickly. The nice thing about this hike, it was completely treed and shaded the whole walk until you got out to the beach. And that's why we bring the screen tent, because it's UV protected, so I can get out of the sun and get in the shade. I do go out, get in the water, and then get under the shade.
Yeah, you usually don't spend more than 10 or 15 minutes in direct sunlight. And you still wear a shirt, you got a hat on, sunscreen.
Other than that, the next time we go, we might not bring the dogs. We might try to tube it. And that gets me to the tubing thing. A lot of the people that we talked to that were tubing talked about the Pack River store. And so we did some research on it because they said it was the best food in the area.
And I've heard from several people that the food's really good there too, outside of these guys.
So we researched it, and you can park your car and get out there. Kara's going to talk a little bit about the store.
So it seems like a cute little local joint. Not a lot of tables. They're open from, I think it was 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. most days of the week, except Sunday they close at 2, which is kind of common here. If something's even open on Sundays, it closes pretty early. But it's a husband and wife team own the restaurant. The husband, or the store, yeah. The husband actually bought it from his mother, who ran it for the previous 18 years. And he is a culinary chef. And so he kind of mixes the traditional, comfort food kind of thing with his culinary training to kind of make it awesome. And they sell cured, smoked and roasted meats by the pound and all kinds of like salads, ribs, jams, things like that. But they also do groceries, gas, propane, and showers. So if you are dispersed camping in the area, like our last episode, we were talking a lot about Lightning Creek. Pack River Store isn't very far away from Lightning Creek. And again, we'll pin all these things for you on the blog, but you can go take a shower at the Pack River Store if you don't bring, your
Solar
tent
shower.
camping. Yeah, you don't have your solar shower or whatever. You just want a real shower. I know sometimes you really just want to get shaved and really clean. So that's definitely nice to know. Very handy. We'll be looking forward, actually, probably in the next week or so to check out the Pack River Store. Like I said, I've heard about it from several people at the restaurant I work at, talk about the Pack River Store. Brian and Deidre said the food's great. And these ladies that we saw on the river said it's the best place in Northern Idaho.
And obviously we keep bringing you episodes about Idaho, but when we're done in Idaho, we'll have to give you a final episode and give you all the key points and places that we really enjoyed and sum it up in one episode.
Yeah, our favorite restaurants and businesses and things of that nature. Absolutely. Like we did for the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Things to do. And, we're doing things sporadically. Like this was a sporadic day. That was supposed to be relaxing. And it ended
Dog
up.
drama.
We ended up picking up camp and walking back to the car and going home.
But we accept that that's, no matter what lifestyle you live, things unexpected happen. And, they just don't always work out the way you want them to. It's just about going with the flow and making the change of plans as you need to make them, and hopefully gracefully, not a lot of stress and extra anxiety being added to your life.
Till next time.
Until next. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for listening.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Now we're going to do what I think will be a special segment I'd really like to keep doing. If we need you guys to help us, but our little listener questions. Today we have a question from our friends out of North Carolina, Laura and Tim, and they wanted a little bit more information about how the pandemic essentially affected our life and our course in life. So I don't know if you want to start out.
I can start. A lot of things have changed, but I think it really changed for me when I bought the property off grid, moved off grid, and really got rid of the 10-hour day job and having the responsibility of running restaurants and really making somebody else tons of money and only settling for a paycheck. I got rid of the job, moved off grid, and became a server at the Grand Canyon, a lot less hours, no responsibility. It was like being a manager for yourself because you have your tables and you get paid to help guests basically. And if you do a great job, they tip you. I didn't get paid a lot hourly, but I really got paid really well in a tipped position. We worked at the Grand Canyon and made good money serving. It was a great change from being a manager and having that responsibility. I only had to worry about myself and my section. Then the pandemic happened. Grand Canyon National Park closes. I'm like, oh man, what are we going to do now? We were getting unemployment. We were home a lot. We traveled a lot, even though the pandemic said to stay home. We had our little off-grid network that we went and hung out with friends and had fun. So then we went back to the Grand Canyon because they called us back. It was not the same. It wasn't fun. It was actually worse than when we left, and the management there was already poor. So we both decided to leave. Cara did tours, and I became a shuttle driver for a company called Under Canvas, and it was seasonal. It was March through October, and we started having more time off. And in my opinion, I realized that I wanted to spend more time with friends and traveling and seeing the country, especially before, I pass away. I have many goals that I want to do, many places to see. So after I started working seasonally, I'm like, wow, this can really happen. And then some other things happened. So I figured out that time is way more important than money. So I'm doing the shuttle thing, and the shuttle thing for me, some weeks I work full time. I work 30, full time is 32 hours. So nothing like 60 hours at the restaurant. But some of the things that happened, I started helping out neighbors and people that I've met in Northern Arizona. And I built up a woodshed for somebody, or a cover for a woodshed off the side of their other shed. And then I helped a lady do a bathroom in her tiny house. And then people started calling me for work, and people that I knew, neighbors, friends that I'd worked with. So now I built a greenhouse, I built a pump house, I'm doing solar systems for people. So I kind of figured out that in Northern Arizona where we live, there wasn't a lot of skilled workers that could help people out, especially the older people, because the people I'm working for are 50, 60, 70 years old, and they're living off grid and they just need help. Now I'm helping my neighbors and getting their dreams to come true while making a little money. And so I figured out the last few years that I could really just make money for myself and not even really have a job. So when me and Cara were talking about it, we're like, we can travel the country. If we go to a national park or anywhere, I can go to the local hardware store and say handyman services and get people to hire me and just do odds and ends. So it was a test when we came up here to my son's house in Idaho. We had to work. So we get here. We didn't work for the first month, but lo and behold, I picked up a job. I'm actually working more than I wanted to, but I picked up a job working at a restaurant one night a week cooking. And then I picked up a construction job and started framing a shop. It's like a shop, a tack room, a hay room, and 2 stalls, and then a back corral, and started working on that for these people. And it's been great. So that was like a little tester. And Kara, same thing. She came up here and we found work easy. And we found work that people are like, you can stay here forever and we'll work you, basically. It was a little tester. So I think, our plan to move around the country and travel for the next few years, record and create a great podcast with help from you for asking these kind of questions. But that was kind of my mindset shift. It was gradual. And as things changed, we changed. So I don't foresee myself ever going back to a full-time job that I'm stuck in one particular place. I don't know if that answers Laura's question, but I do think it definitely, she had listened to one of our episodes, and she said she wanted to hear more of our perspective of after the pandemic. Well, the pandemic pushed us to discover that we are both really good at doing anything we want, working and creating money.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we decided we were going to do. So we look forward to bringing you podcast episodes from the places we travel and working as we go. So that's my kind of take on it. I'm going to let Cara talk now, and then we'll wrap it up.
So I definitely, we kind of talked about it last night, kind of brainstorming how we wanted to go about this episode. And I agree with James 100% that moving off grid was the big catalyst. It let us realize at our own pace that we didn't need to fit into societal molds, that we could do our own thing, and we had found that we were happier doing our own thing. Then, of course, the pandemic, the whole world kind of changed. And we got to the point, really, when we did go back to work, that we were craving having our freedom again. And I think a lot of people went through that. You find in the customer service industry, there's a real hard time getting employees, but unemployment levels are low, or, according to who you listen to. So people aren't doing those jobs anymore, and we're really good at it. So it's easy to find work in it. Even working seasonally, it just wasn't enough time. It wasn't enough freedom to visit all the people we want to visit, do all of the things we want to do, see all these beautiful, beautiful places all over the country, and hopefully eventually the world too. There's just too much to do. And you don't want to wait until someday. Someday might never come. You have to do what you want to do now. There was a great quote in that book we're reading right now. Oh, what was it? Oh, it's, you don't want to wait until you get over this mountain, because when you get over this mountain, there's more fucking mountains. There's always going to be something else. If you wait until you achieve XYZ,
there's always going to be something else that's in your way that's preventing you from having the perfect situation. This car accident was in a really big wake-up call. Like, we could potentially run out of time. You only have today, and you may not even have all of today. You have no idea what's going to happen. So you can either wait until you're too old, too sick, and half dead to be able to start doing the things you're dreaming of doing, or you can just go do it now and figure it out as you go along how you're going to do it. I have a really amazing group, and we've kind of been surrounding ourselves around these beautiful people who have done just that, said, F it, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to go figure it out as I go along. And things just come easily. Things seem to come harder when you're constantly working the grind and constantly pushing forward in the direction that you think you're supposed to go, but it's not the direction you want to go in. When you finally jump in both feet and just go for it, things start to come to you, and you will find those amazing opportunities. Like James says, we always figure out how to make money. We never go without a meal. We might get close where we're like, man, this is getting really scary. And then something happens, or we get that job opportunity we've been trying to push for. We both are great in customer service. He's very handy. I've always got 2 or 3 side gigs that I'm working, whether I'm designing products for people, business cards, flyers, doing the real estate gig, assisting, writing tours, whatever it is. I'm always finding something, and James is the same way. And of course, we want the podcast to be lucrative for us. We want that to earn us money, whether it's in sponsorships, whether it's in commercials, whatever the case is. But we're always going to find ways to earn money and travel the country. I mean, that's what is really eating at both of us, is what we really, really both want to do. We need to go see Laura here in the spring. And hopefully, because Laura and Tim themselves, similar to around the pandemic, really changed their lives pretty drastically. And they have a really amazing story. So if Lauren,
someday we're hoping to interview them.
Yeah, we would really like to interview them, hopefully this spring when we're visiting them. They're a really inspiring couple of people with an amazing family. So that hopefully will be coming to you guys in the future here. It's just been a fun journey, and I really just can't wait to see how much more we evolve and change and where this journey that is life takes us, and bring you guys along with us, because we're all just figuring it out as we go along. And why not listen to us figure it out and be entertained by us while you're going at your own journey? But of course, if you have any questions, any places you want us to check out, or anything at all, please always drop us a line. Join at carowexcruising.com. You can hit us up on Facebook, Instagram. Check out our website. And of course, if you got our numbers, please text us. We love you.
One of the things that I will say before, because Cara sounds like she's ending this conversation.
I thought you were done. Sorry.
Is I don't think I would ever go back to a job full time that only gives you maybe 2-3 weeks off a year.
Yeah, 40 hours a week with 2 weeks of your life.
The vacation time for that, you do nothing. I've lived that life my whole life. I'm in my 50s. And I did it for 30 years, and you do not enjoy life that way.
Mm-mm.
Now, when we moved off grid, one of the greatest things that happened when we moved off grid, we got rid of all our bills.
Yeah.
We weren't paying a big mortgage. We weren't paying rent. We weren't paying all these electric bills and just all the things, a trash bill, whatever, what all the bills are. So we eliminated that. Me and Cara together, we were making $140,000 a year, $150,000 a year combined income. We live off peanuts right now. If I told you how much we lived off, it is a lot less than that, probably a little less than half.
But our life is so much fuller.
But we have more time,
more experiences,
we have more fun, and
significantly less stress.
It is a world of difference. Mm-hmm. And I know most people are like, oh, you got to make a lot of money and all that, you're chasing the Joneses or whatever, but you don't have to. You can figure it out. So I encourage everybody to do that if that's what you're looking for. If you're looking for freedom,
to lower your,
but do your dream, do whatever you want to do. But life is definitely not working 60 hours a week and having very little fulfillment. When you only get 2-3 weeks off a year and you're working 5 days a week, what else are you doing besides high stress? And your days off are doing laundry and cleaning your house, and maybe you get to go out to dinner. I don't even know. I know that we had very little time when we were both managers and running restaurants, and we made a lot more money. We did make a lot more money, but freedom And time is way more valuable than any kind of money that you can have.
Mm-hmm.
And I truly believe if we stay on our path, that money will come back to
Mhm.
us. You know, when I go help people, I don't really charge them a significant amount of money. There's one lady that I don't charge at all because I just like to go help her and she feeds me. And I give her a hug at the end of the day, and I'm good with that. So I do think, if we stay on our path, something will happen. The podcast might take off, but maybe something else will
Well,
happen.
we got this.
You can't put a number or a time limit on that stuff, but I know we're going to enjoy life and travel in the next few years, and that's what my goal is.
It's going to be amazing, and we're going to bring it to you guys the whole way along.
So Tim and Laura, I hope you guys listen to this. I'll probably text you, and then you can listen to it, and you can give us some input. We love input. Laura and Tim are the second people that actually asked us a question. Thank you, Caroline. Caroline asked us a question. Please, more people ask us stuff because we'd love to fill you in on our perspective of life
Mm-hmm.
and our journey.
Absolutely.
Have a great day.
We love you. Thank you.
Join us, Kerouac's Cruising.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Kerouac's Cruising.
We're thrilled to have you with us.
We had a blast recording this episode and hope you enjoyed our adventures as much as we enjoyed sharing them.
For more amazing pictures and stories, visit our website and blog at kerouacscruising.com.
And join the conversation on Facebook at Kerouac's Cruising or email us at join@kerouacscruising.com.
We'd love to hear your thoughts and suggestions.
If you enjoyed this episode, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving us a review.
Your support helps us reach more listeners and allows us to continue sharing our travel experiences with you.
It's a generous favor that means the world to us.
Thank you so much for listening to Kerouac's Cruising.
Until next time, happy travels.